with White Labs, an e-commerce marketing agency. Today's guest is Roee. Roee, feel free to introduce yourself and let our viewers know a little about yourself and your background.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. My name is Roee. I am the proud founder and owner of Charcuterie Boards. It is a novelty charcuterie board brand specializing in phallic charcuterie boards, a few other phallic items in the kind of the kitchen decor space. And yeah, thanks, Stephen, for having me. Really appreciate it.
Definitely. What inspires you to create the brand?
Yeah. It was a couple things. It was like a culmination of a few things, but I honestly I never really saw myself as starting a business like ever. And I just well, I'll throw it back to okay. The probably the first thing that really tipped the scale for me was I was working at a startup called Clearbank. Stephen, where are you located again? Can you remind me?
I'm in South Florida.
Okay, so I don't know if it's familiar to you, but there's very similar types of companies out there. It's non-dilutive capital for like D2C brands.
Okay.
So I was responsible for trying to shell out capital. So day in, day out, I was on the phone with entrepreneurs and listening to their struggles and kind of how they're running their brand and how capital could advance, or assist them from a inventory perspective, a marketing perspective, this, that, the other. And I was listening to them and, kind of getting to know them over a span of, I think I was at the company for 8 months. And I wasn't like so floored by the people on the other end of the phone that I was listening to. I was like, I'm sure they're a pretty impressive bunch, but I feel like this is something I can maybe be capable of. So that was like the first like little light bulb moment. And then, and it wasn't like, okay, like I'm really down to start a business and I need an idea. It wasn't that. I was just like, I think subconsciously I was recognizing that, super subconsciously I was recognizing that like maybe I have the chops if one day I found myself slated to start a business. Then I remember very distinctly when I got the idea, I was in a Whole Foods and I was just, wandering through the sections and I came across a display of like really nice charcuterie boards. And this is all true. This is on my About Us and on the website. And my instant thought was these would be so much funnier in the shape of a dick. And what I accredit it to is kind of my obsession with Superbad. I say like on my website, I suffer from the same syndrome as Jonah Hill. Like I'm just kind of constantly got phallus on the brain, if you will. So I was like, well, that's like kind of a dumb idea, but I could see it maybe resonating and, this is ultra niche. However, niche doesn't mean small. It just means very specific. So, I was like, maybe, but like, it's kind of a dumb idea. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just see if it exists. I'm sure it does because like what doesn't exist today. And surely enough, there is a company that's doing it. I was like, okay, that's interesting. But I was like looking at I was evaluating their socials and their kind of the descriptions of the products. And I apologize if it's really loud here. Did you hit some editing on this?
Yeah, we'll be fine. It's all good.
Okay. So I was evaluating their socials and their website, and I just I didn't think they were leaning into it that much, or as much as they should, or as much as I would have. This been kind of like my brand. And those two things together, my exposure, to, a peek under the hood, if you will, at Clearbank, as well as like, the missed opportunity from what I saw with this other company, I was like, maybe I'll go for it. Let's just see. And then I think that what ultimately tipped me over the scale was I was going stir crazy during COVID. This is like one of many people's kind of I know like a lot of side hustle turned full time gigs were birthed during COVID. I'm no exception to that. This was like right prime time COVID. So I think like the trifecta of those three, exposure to Clearbank, is kind of like idea that I thought I could do better with, and me just looking for something to roll the dice with, is what ultimately led me to go for it. And so I did. I just like started reaching out to manufacturers. I made a spreadsheet so I can keep track of who I was reaching out to, how many times I was engaging with them. And this was like a little bit of the sales skill set kind of manifesting right there, because it taught me, a cadence of how many times I should reach out before I consider the lead dead, and just like organizing myself. And I took it pretty seriously. And I, I'm sure, as you can imagine, I sent like, probably 100 emails, heard back from 10. From the 10 I heard back from, 5 took me seriously, this, that, the other. So it got whittled down pretty quick. And then finally, a kind of like a woodworker, got back to me and was like really into it. Like his reply was like, had all the innuendo, so you could tell like he was found as much humor in it as I did. And he was like, I lived at the time not too far from him. So he's like, why don't you come by? We'll talk and see what can be done. And, we started chatting, and he's like, look, I can't do this for you. Like, I don't have capacity. I think it'd be too expensive, but this is what I can do. He gave me, like the universal digital file format for the shape of the board, which is the same shape I use today.
Uh-huh.
As kind of just a gift. He's like, look, this is like a universal file that you can send around to see if someone's willing to make it, and they can use it to like, decipher pricing based on size and all that good stuff. So he kind of gifted me that, and then that's what I used to send to all of the other manufacturers to be like, this is what I'm going for, can you make it? And then, I was in talks with a few of them. They, the leads kind of withered away pretty quickly. And then I got referred to a manufacturer, and the referral was and that manufacturer in Kingston, Ontario, which is about 2.5, 3 hours from Toronto. He was my initial manufacturer. So, he saw me as like a young, kind of up and coming entrepreneur. And I think threw me a bone a little bit and just like decided to help me out. So, he's like, yeah, I can do it for you. These are the prices. I'm like, okay, I can work with that. And then my dad cut me a check for like $3,000 to cover the startup costs, product photography, and boxes. Pardon me.
All good.
And that was the only capital I raised for it. Since then, I've just been reinvesting. So it's been very lean. And then I didn't have like any sort of strategy to sell them. I'm like, I'll just make a couple videos on TikTok, Instagram, and see if this resonates. I didn't have like an ad budget. I'm only now really starting to get into paid after 2.5 years. So, like organic was always going to be the means in which I was going to get exposure on this thing. And I can. Do you want to go question specific, or do you want me to just
No,
tell us?
I mean, that was great. I mean, who have you found as your target audience?
Good question. I don't even really know the answer to that because I'll tell you what, like, it's fun. It's one of those paradoxes where, the deeper I get into the business and trying to understand it more and improve and evolve, the more I realize how much more I have ahead of me. Because like I've been doing things so half-assed for so long, and only now I feel like I'm starting to get an understanding of what it's going to take to take this thing where I think it can go, where I think it deserves to go. And so, there's a lot of work to do, and it's not going to be easy. And I'll say, like, as a completely one-man show, it's damn near impossible to do any one thing well, because I have to do 100 things at the same time. So I'm trying to discover that balance, and double, triple, quadruple down what I'm good at versus what I can outsource. Obviously, it's super difficult to just give people responsibility over something that means so much to me, and it really means a lot to me. But that's just kind of the game, and so I have to, I can't be that resistant to putting faith in people to help me out, because at this point, if I really want to, advance this thing, then I have to allow people in to help me. So that's kind of the stage that I'm at right now.
100%. You said you had a competitor when you started this. What makes you different or better than them?
So it's I would say that, like, so when I first discovered them, they had about I think 500 followers, give or take. Let's do a true test, a live test here. They had about 500 followers 2.5 years ago. Um, we'll keep names out of it, out of
Yeah,
respect.
all good. Yeah.
Hang on.
You're at like I think I saw like 39 grand on Insta.
Yeah. What's interesting too is sorry, pardon me. What's interesting too is that I have like nearly a 1-to-1 following on TikTok and Instagram, which is I
Hmm.
think pretty unique. I think like most
That's
people like
super
blow
super rare. Normally it takes off somewhere.
takes us
Yeah.
somewhere. And I think it even might skew towards Instagram. But anyhow, so yeah, so the competitor is currently sitting at 549 followers. I swear they were at like 400 and change, maybe 500 when I first discovered them 2.5 years ago. So like on social, I definitely I confidently say that I'm outpacing them and shining them. I've had a bunch of videos go like mega viral.
Hmm.
Some my own, some others with like kind of high profiles, social media or like content creators that have my
Influencers.
board.
You have
Yeah,
influencers. Yeah.
have my boards, have made videos with my boards or containing some of my other products. And I think cumulatively, like view count on like my viral videos plus the viral videos from other content creators, I think are pushing, if not exceeding 50 million. Um, so that by that margin or by that valuation, like across social, we're doing, I would believe confidently that we're doing better, at least on like a awareness level.
100%. What's your best selling board or best selling product?
Yeah, so I have three. My current manufacturer was my manufacturer that actually enabled me to introduce two new species of wood, um, that being cherry and black walnut, and that was exciting because I was pretty much like a one product store for 2 years, and it's still like the same product, but at least there's some variety, which is exciting. And so sorry, I can the background.
Oh, good.
So yeah, so maple. So yeah, so I started with maple. It's actually called like a wormy maple or an ambrosia maple, and that's still my best seller, even with the cherry and walnut introduced. But the cherry and walnut, people still love. You can engrave the board, so people have a lot of fun with, you know, how clever they get on the personalizations. Uh, it's always fun seeing them come through. And it's also kind of like a little bit of a it's almost like a little bit of like market research, if you will, like a passive market research, because it informs me the type of sorry, how annoying is that?
That's all good.
Can you
Go
hear
ahead.
me? Oh, okay.
You're good. Yeah, you're good.
It informs me of the occasion in which they're buying. So, for example, like I never thought someone would give this for retirement, but the engraving said like, congratulations on no longer getting dicked around by the job. I never considered this really for a housewarming, but then surely enough, the engraving said happy housewarming or whatever. So it's kind of cool to see the occasions in which people, um, find these suitable.
You never know.
You never know. You never know. Yeah.
What's the future plan for yourself and the brand?
Yeah. I would love this to evolve into just like a phallic, um, like one stop shop for everything phallic. So like, and specifically in like the home decor slash like kitchen space. So, um, a few other like, there'd be like kind of like any cock product you can think of. Um, you could get on the store. That's the long term goal, I would say. That's a long road ahead. I'm releasing a new product pretty soon. This isn't even a teaser. Right? I genuinely don't even know when that'll be ready. Like everything's in stock, the boxes, the product, it's all ready to go. It's just a matter of curating a launch and driving demand, because there's a lot to be said about doing a product launch properly versus just like listing on the website and sending one email blast. So, but that's ironically, that's actually lower on the priority list than a few of the other things I'm trying to take care of. A couple fires that are constantly needing extinguishing. But that's the game, and it's incredibly difficult as one person to um, have any sort of like compound growth when you're just constantly dealing with shit, like constantly putting out fires. So, working on it.
Well, speaking of the fires, but most of our listeners are entrepreneurs that have e-commerce brands. What are some of the bigger
Mm.
challenges that you faced in the last few years, and how have you been able to consistently overcome them?
Oh man, and this is so hard for me because I'm like a heart on my sleeve, and like I wear the shortcomings of the business like very very heavily. Like it really impacts me. But yeah, just like really try to have thick skin because it's probably one of the most difficult things someone can do. I think it's so hard because uh, if you want to really have, in my opinion, you have to invite people in to help you. You can't do it all alone. You just can't. And with that perspective, um, or in doing so, uh, you sometimes, and this has been my experience, that the people that I've entrusted to help me have continually let me down. Uh, I've gotten, misled by ad agencies and manufacturers and consultants that have like led me astray. And not only does it put me right in the same position that I am. It like I'm spending money on all these things, and it kills your confidence, and then it lifts your guard up for the next person that you're gonna have to entrust. So it becomes very difficult to evaluate kind of the legitimacy of the brand, the agencies or whoever you're entrusting to help grow this thing. Um, Now, I will say that I've met some really great mentors and consultants that have helped me tremendously, but they're definitely few and far between. So, if we're looking for like tangible takeaways, it's um, you know be prepared to weather the storm because it's a hell of a ride, and don't let like a negative experience with someone who you've entrusted to help you um, deter you from finding the person who will, because in my opinion, like you cannot do it all alone, nor should you. You should have someone to um, take over certain areas, to someone to enjoy the ride with, for better or for worse. And I think it makes the building not only that much more digestible, but fun, right? I mean, like ultimately we chose to do this, so we should have some sort of enjoyment in it.
100% amazing advice. What's been the number one thing that you found to promote the brand so far?
Organic, definitely organic, and just just making videos, putting them on TikTok and Instagram. Ironically, like I would say ironically, but the past, I'll say like the first year and a half, I was just riding the TikTok coattails of trends. So a trend blows up, I find some sort of creative way to insert my boards into the trend, and like apply the board to the trend. And some of them would do really well, others wouldn't. Um, and what's kind of scary, but this is suppose the world we live in, is like a good amount of revenue can be attributed to a very few number of videos. It's like the 4 or 5 viral videos in the flurry of videos that have effectively, perpetuated the brand. So it's the game, but it's like really, it's very tough to hang your hat on because you're essentially just hoping a video goes viral. In recognizing that, that's when I started to get more into paid because it's a little bit more sustainable. And it's an equation. Like you're getting this much return on your ad spend, and you keep increasing your ad spend. And it's infinitely more scalable than putting out content. So that was the kind of sidestep. Now that's like kind of the outlook for figuring out paid. But in doing that, I've neglected social, or organic rather, and I've been like losing followers, for example. And so now I'm going to with someone like one of my mentors who's assisting me on the paid side. Now I have time back to do the organic, which I do love. Like that's kind of was the whole motivation in the first place. Was like think about all the funny videos I can make. Now, mind you, the funny videos are going to be a little bit behind me. I've noticed this a little bit of a change towards like ultra transparency as a business owner, and just kind of chronicling all the shit and the highs and lows that we go through. And I find that that really resonates with the audience. And there's a lot of really good content creators alone, but also business owners that that kind of demonstrate that type of content. And that's personally the direction I want to be heading in. That's what I'm looking forward to, and we'll be putting out content much more geared around those topics than just like dumb trends. I think like trends are kind of a thing of the past anyhow.
Awesome, Roee. Is there anything I haven't asked you that you want our viewers to know about yourself and the brand?
Let's see. Anything you haven't asked me? Pardon me. I think I've been rambling for. I think that encapsulates it. I've yeah.
Are you just on your website?
Yeah. So it's talkrudyboards.com. We are on Etsy.
Okay.
Trying to figure out Amazon, but again, that's like a low priority item right now. I've wholesale is like another area I've been like dying to try and figure out, but again, like, it's just such a heavy lift there that like it requires almost 100% commitment. So slowly now, like I have this kind of mentor on my side. He's helping me. Budget my time better, create. He's helping me budget my time better and get a better balance of like what to prioritize when. And it's definitely on his roadmap, which is exciting as well. He's making a big push for it, which I've been wanting to for years. It's just kind of, you gotta choose your lane, and you can't do it all. So yes, trying to get more into wholesale. We've been in I've done a few orders to a few shops in Colorado. Actually, one in Florida, I believe, Orlando maybe. So yeah, I think I've sent maybe 50 boards at wholesale, in the couple thousand. So yeah, working on it.
All right, Roy. Well, I appreciate you coming on and hearing your story and your awesome brand, man. I appreciate your time today.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I definitely appreciate it. Nice meeting you as well. And I look forward to critiquing myself shortly.
All good.